Welcome to Thursday's Market SITREP here at Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. I'm the Chief Investment Strategist here at TGO. And with all due respect to my feline lovers or PETA lovers here, we're going to talk about whether this is a dead cat bounce out of the market. Here's the holy crap, we're all gonna die with North Korea, and then the rip your face off rally, we're not, and then the political drama here in Washington, or there in Washington, is causing us to, again, to pull back to the 50-day moving average. Bottom line, folks, this is an excuse to take profits. We're going to talk about volatility in a second here, but you know, a lot of the, financial media are talking about Gary Kahn. Gary Kahn, Goldman Sachs heavy. You know, now he's obviously heavy in the in Obama administration. He's rumored to be the next Fed chair, which Jim Cramer, thinks it could add another 5% to the S&P 500 if the president names Kahn as the new Fed chair. He's not going to keep Janet Yellen around. If you remember what he said about Janet Yellen, what the president said about Janet Yellen when he's the candidate, I'm surprised he hasn't fired her right now. But the market is pulling back. There were some earnings misses today, and I get all that stuff, but this is a little bit of a political pullback today. He's staying. A lot of the frothing at the mouth liberals were trying to see if they could get him to resign by saying, I can't believe anybody would stay in this administration with this, this white supremacist and all these stupid, ridiculous comments that are going out. I really feel like the brown shirts are about, ready to go burn all the books too. Why stop with, Confederate statues? Why don't we go to all the libraries and start burning books too? Getting very, very scary. So the left hasn't succeeded in getting Kahn to resign. So this is a little bit of a political pullback here. I'd actually be getting short volatility right now. Let's take a look at the VIX. The VIX is up, and this is why we get long and short volatility here at TGO, and we can even have dueling trades on. The VIX is up 19%, 19% in the blink of an eye. Again, when vol is cheap down here, you buy it. We put on a bullish double vertical a couple weeks ago on what? On North Korea, on China, on Russia, on Iran, on what? I had no idea. I just knew that something was going to happen in the next 4 to 5 weeks to freak the market the hell out. And it did. And then as the VIX and volatility spiked last week, I put on a bearish double vertical. Well, guess what? With this spike today, I'd be looking at a bearish double vertical as well. Short term, I think vol comes in. This ain't the big one. This ain't the Fred, Sanford, Elizabeth. But take a look at, there was a huge call buyer out here into September. Look at this, like 32,000. Look at the volume, 26,000, 31,000 of the VIX. September, middle of September, low 20 calls. Folks, there are a lot of people. That's low 20s, folks. Let's just say double, because I think vol is going to come in. A lot of people are betting September and October that the VIX is going to double from where it is. I think they're listening to my predictions, just like Jeffrey Gunlock did. He's buying. He has huge puts on the S&P 500, and he says if I don't make 400% on these things in October, I'd be disappointed. We have the debt ceiling coming up in October. We have a potential North Korea strike, in my opinion, in October, and just a lot of bad out there. Now, Bannon, White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon. The president didn't really inspire confidence yesterday. I think it was yesterday when he said, we'll see what happens with Bannon. Good dude. Think he's getting a bad rap, but we'll see what happens. That's not exactly instilling confidence in your job, right? When your boss talks about like that. But he talked about an economic war with China. He's like, there's no way that we cannot get into an economic. We're at economic war with China. One of us is going to be number one in 25 to 30 years, and it's going to be them if we go down this path. So he is, and he's right. The economic war with China is everything. And he nails it. He says, the financial media doesn't cover this, but in the Chinese media, they are going after us like crazy, and this really isn't reported. This is why you should be a member here at TGO, because I dig underneath all this stuff and tell you what's truly going on. He also says we're not going to do anything with Korea. There's not going to be any military strike. Really good article or intel on Steve Bannon here. He does have the president's ear for now, but the trade war with China is what's getting my attention. We already fired the first shots in a trade war last week on intellectual property, and I think before we fire, if we fire any real shots on North Korea, we're actually going to get a lot more serious with with China and sanctions or trade. Also, potential terrorist attack overseas in Barcelona. 1 dead, 20 injured. A van jumps the curb and dudes get out with automatic weapons. Let's not jump to assumptions. I'm pretty sure it was two Swedish old ladies that did this, but. Here we go, folks. So I don't think that's impacting the markets as well. It really is kind of a lower earnings. The retailers are just getting obliterated here. Who was it? JCPenney last week, Macy's. I didn't even know JCPenney was still in business, like a Sears. All I remember about Sears is the catalog growing up in Christmas time. So I think we're going to chop around here. There's nothing really fundamental going on except the DC drama. We've seen in the past couple days all these lemmings jump off a cliff with the Merck CEO. All these cowards who are frothing at the mouth, listening to the liberal left with this silent coup trying to take down his president. You guys know me. I don't support the dude. I think he's nuts. I support the policies, lower taxes, infrastructure. Spending, having a strong military to counteract a China, a Russia, or North Korea. How can you disagree with those things? And he nailed it. Yeah, there's already a pastor in Chicago calling for the Washington Monument and the Jefferson Monument to be torn down. Where does this stop? He's right, but he's not going to win the battle with the media. So I know what the polls say. I know the 24/7 coverage, how this guy's a Klansman and stuff like that. Remember, folks, the Klan is. I had a picture on my Facebook of the 1920 whatever Democratic convention. It was a Klan rally. Senator Robert Byrd was a grand wizard in the KKK. You forget all of this stuff, and the media is showing you zero pictures of Trump and all the stuff he's disavowed over the years. He's worked with Jesse Jackson and that other racist, Al Sharpton, when he was in New York. Nobody's showing you any of this stuff, but he can't win. He's trying to be middle of the road, saying, hey, there's racists on both sides, but apparently if you're a leftist liberal, you don't believe that. So I think we're going to chop around here just because, it's more or less technical. And but we'll talk. I'm going to do a webinar next week, and then obviously my member webinars. I'd be looking to get short vol here. Can we go up a little bit more? Yeah. I mean, Friday, it's not like the market's going to catch a bid to have a rip your face off rally. But just like this if this is the biggest spike we got on a potential nuclear war, I think this mini spike here on the DC drama is enough. I sent out an alert. One of my Goldman Sachs bull put spreads, I rolled down and out to next Friday because the financials are selling off a little bit here. But this big spike in volatility is going to be short-lived. I think vol comes back in, but I would be looking to get long vol out to September, October, because I think that's when the what's going to hit the fan. And, historically, folks, that's when the stuff hits the fan anyway. October tends to be one of the most volatile months in the market as well. So that's about it, guys. I'm going to get going. Everything else, like I said, it's not like it's panic selling or this. It's just some profit taking like this was. Because remember, guys, this was the day after the fire, fury, and we're going to vaporize Guam back and forth. And then the next day is when the market sold off. That was an excuse to take some profits. Rip your face off rally back at the 50-day rate here. If we go below the 50-day rate here, I think we're going to end up doing this, what we did back in April. We'll hover underneath it for a while, and then we'll get back above it. But we've been right so far with, the Comey memo and the Don Jr. emails and all that. On the political pullbacks, usually it's been a bounce and a signal to rally. This is different this time. This is a dead cat bounce, and I want to see if we hold this 50-day moving average. If we don't, it's bearish. Okay, but again, I think it's an opportunity to take some profits and shake out some of the longs. I would be, for all my members, I'd be adding to my Uber longs, all those Jan 19 positions on any pullbacks here, except Goldman Sachs, as we talked about. I'd rotate out of Goldman Sachs for JP Morgan. Okay, all right, folks, have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow for Friday's market.